Going on, everybody? It's Key Town coming back with another one to talk about week 3 of the NFL season, which kicks off tonight. There are a lot of games on the docket, NFL docket for this week. And the very first game that I want to get into is the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. Now, first two games, these two teams are basically squarely in the same boat. You've got the New England Patriots offense that has averaged 18 points, and the New England defense has given up 16 points in both of their contests, an average of 16 points in both of their contests. And then you have the New York Jets, first week against the 49ers, couldn't get it in the gear. Not last week, but Sunday, they got it in the gear versus the Tennessee Titans. And tonight, they have the game versus the New England Patriots. And I think that the New York Jets, they'll be able to run on the New England Patriots because Brees Hall and Braylon Allen, those two guys shoulder the load with the New York Jets running game. And I think that the New York Jets will have an efficient night on offense tonight. So I got the New York Jets winning this game. As of right now, they are a 6-point favorite. I got them winning this game by a touchdown because I know that the New England Patriots, they are going to try and keep it close. And hopefully at the end, hopefully they have a chance. But with this being a division game and it being so early in the season, and now you don't know in the AFC East, you don't know what Miami is gonna show. Buffalo is still there, and the Jets tonight they have a chance at giving the Buffalo Bills a run for their money as far as the division lead after 3 weeks of being in the NFL. So I got the New York Jets winning this game by a touchdown or more. It could be a blowout, who knows. But I got the New York Jets winning this game. The next game I want to talk about is the New York Giants and Cleveland Browns. The Browns last week, they bounced back last week versus the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I expected them to do that. Now, as far as the New York Giants, their offense is a little stagnant when it comes to Daniel Jones. Like, they can have about 2, 3 good plays, and then after that, they can have a penalty to just derail the entire offensive drive. So in this game, I believe that the Cleveland Browns defense is going to have a field day. I believe that the Browns defense will be able to get 3 or 4 sacks in this game and might be able to get 1 or 2 turnovers because the Giants, they have been turnover prone since the season has started. And for the New York Giants, what can I say outside of offense? They have a good defense, but the defense has been on the field way too much in this early stretch of the season. As far as I'm going to give y'all a stat, the New York Giants defense has been on the field for a total of, out of 2 games, a total of 80 minutes on the field. 80 minutes on the field as far as the defense concerned. Because the defense, they have a tough time getting off the field on third down, and the offense is not being able to sustain drives. So in the first 2 games, the Giants defense has been on the field for almost I'm gonna say, because they were on the field in the first game versus the Giants for, I'd say, for most of the game. So a good 37 to 38 minutes against the Minnesota Vikings defense, the Giants defense, the New York Giants defense was on the field versus the Vikings for a good 37, 38 minutes. And then last week, they were on the field for a good 30 minutes there, a good 30 to 32 minutes there. So this defense has been on the field for most of the season, and to my calculations, they have been on the field for almost 64 minutes. I said 80, but that was an error on my part. So the defense, New York Giants defense, has been on the field for 64 minutes. This week is going to exceed 80 minutes of the Giants defense being out there on the field, because looks like Deshaun Watson found his groove last week. Is it going to be a rendition of last week to this week? Who knows? But I have the Cleveland Browns winning this game by at least a touchdown, if not in a blowout. Now, in the first quarter, if the Cleveland Browns get up by 14 points, then they'll win in a blowout. But if the Giants can keep this game close, maybe will have a chance in the end. Graham Gano, he's still injured, so the New York Giants, they need a backup kicker, and hopefully they'll have a kicker of some sort in this game. The next game I want to talk about is the Green Bay Packers versus Tennessee Titans. Now, Tennessee Titans have been up and down the last couple of weeks. Will Levis, he has become turnover prone. He turned the ball over versus the Chicago Bears the first week. Last week, he turned the ball over versus the New York Jets. This week, he might turn the ball over against the Green Bay Packers again. Now, what I can say for the Green Bay Packers, Malik Willis, he was the former quarterback for the Tennessee Titans, so he might have a little something to say, because Tennessee Titans, they shipped him on out after they got rid of Ryan Tannehill a couple of years ago. Do I think that the Tennessee Titans will win this game? I don't think so. I believe that this will be an upset. I got the Green Bay Packers winning this game, because you just don't know what you're going to get from Will Levis. Excuse me. Yes, Will Levis. You don't know what you're going to get from Will Levis. The last two games, he turned the ball over, and it seems like when that pressure gets in his face, he gets a little antsy, and he just wants to get rid of the ball. But what the offensive coordinator for the Tennessee Titans needs to tell him, think about where we are on the field down in distance, whether we are in field goal range or whether it's third down. We do not want, we do not want a turnover to become a detriment of us winning this game or not. So that is why I'm going with the Green Bay Packers. Malik Willis, he did what he was supposed to do last week versus the Indianapolis Colts. Can he do that again this week? It remains to be seen. Even though the Tennessee Titans are favored by 2 points, I wouldn't be surprised if the Green Bay Packers go into Tennessee, go into Nashville, and upset the Tennessee Titans. The next game I want to talk about is the Chicago Bears versus the Indianapolis Colts. Chicago, Caleb Williams, let's say he's gotten his feet wet, got a first win, got his first loss. Indianapolis, Anthony Richardson, one of the most efficient quarterbacks through 2 weeks of the NFL season. Do I think that the Indianapolis Colts will win this game? I do think so, because they are at home. They have, I'm not going to say that they have the better wide receivers, because both of these teams are in the same boat when it comes to wide receivers. You have, and plus the running backs, you have for the Chicago Bears, DeAndre Swift. Then for the Chicago Bears, Roma Doomsday, DJ Moore. For the Indianapolis Colts, their bell cow wide receiver, you have Austin Pierce, who is a bell cow wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. And then you have two quarterbacks in Caleb Williams and Anthony Richardson, who is able to take off and run when the pocket starts to collapse and the play starts to break down. So when it comes to the Indianapolis Colts, I got the Indianapolis Colts winning this game by, I'd say, a field goal, because this game is going to be close throughout. I don't see this game being a blowout. I just see the Indianapolis Colts winning this game in the end, late in the fourth quarter, with a walk-off field goal or running the clock out by having a 3-point lead. The next game I want to talk about is the Houston Texans and the Minnesota Vikings. This game right here, Houston is going to have this game outright. I believe Houston is going to win this game outright. Minnesota, they had the sweet stretch. They had the New York Giants and stunningly upset the 49ers last week. But I believe this week they are going to get brought back down to earth. Houston has a better offense. They have Tank Dell. They have Stephon Diggs. They have Nico Collins at the tight end position. Also, they have C.J. Stroud, who is on a tear. Last season, he didn't throw too many interceptions. This season, even though it's early in the season, he has yet to throw an interception. Sam Darnold, we all know what we're going to get from him. He has 2 or 3 games where he's hot, and then he has a game where he gets brought back down to earth. And I think that this is the game where he will be brought back down to earth. So not the Tennessee Titans, but the Houston Texans will win this game by at least 10 points. And I think that Minnesota, they will come back next week, dust themselves off, and basically win the next game. But this game, Houston, they have the better offense. I'm not going to say the better coaches, but they have the better offense and the better defense. And I expect Houston to win this game outright. The next game I want to talk about is the Philadelphia Eagles and New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints, over the first 2 games, have put up 91 points on offense. The last time that the New Orleans Saints put up those many points on offense through the first 2 games of an NFL season was 2009. And we all know during that season, they made the playoffs and went on to win the Super Bowl. Will this year be a rendition of 2009? Who knows? This is only the start of week 3. But when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles, we know that the first couple of weeks it's been a little bit iffy when it comes to them. First game, 3 turnovers versus the Green Bay Packers, but they were fortunate enough to win that game. Monday night against the Eagles, they had a chance to win this game. They had a chance to win versus the Falcons. If they run the ball, we are having a different discussion. We are having 2-0 teams playing in New Orleans, but yet we only have 1 team. So do I think that there is a huge disparity between these 2 teams? No, but I just think that when it comes to the Philadelphia defense, you have Vic Fangio, and then you have a co-defensive coordinator looking over the play, seeing what Vic Fangio does. When you have multiple people calling the same plays on the same unit, you're going to have problems anyway. And plus, I heard way back in the offseason, early in the offseason, when the Eagles brought in Kellen Moore, they were going to emphasize the run a little bit more. But I can tell you, in the first 2 weeks, they have thrown the ball 65% of the time, the Eagles, and ran it 35% of the time. So how is that emphasizing the run game? Even though credit, it's 2 weeks. It's only been 2 weeks of the NFL season. I'm not overreacting, but there are some glaring problems on the defensive side of the ball for the Philadelphia Eagles. In this game, I got the New Orleans Saints winning this game because I believe that they will hold serve at home. And currently, according to ESPN Bet, they are a 2.5 point favorite. I believe that they'll win by at least 3 points, if not more, and they will hold serve at home. The next game I want to talk about is the Los Angeles Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, the Los Angeles Chargers' first two games, fortunate enough to win. They had the Raiders, and last week they had the Carolina Panthers. Now, we know the Carolina Panthers organization is a dumpster fire, but these two teams, they have the exact same playbook. When you see the Los Angeles Chargers, they are a run-first offense. When you see the Pittsburgh Steelers, they are a run-first offense. And when you see both of these quarterbacks, Justin Herbert, the first couple of games, first game 145 yards, last game 135 yards passing with Justin Fields. The first game 127 yards passing, the last game versus the Denver Broncos 145 yards passing. So both of these teams have the same exact playbook. What they are saying is they want to run the ball, throw the ball when they have chances to, and play good defense and get out of there with a win. Who do I have winning this game? The battle of undefeated teams. I got Pittsburgh winning this game. I just believe that it's always tough to go into Acrisure Stadium, which used to be called Heinz Field, by the way. It's been tough over the years to go into Pittsburgh and get a decisive win against that home crowd. And plus, we know for years that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been top notch in defense year after year after year, especially under the tutelage of Mike Tomlin, a coach that hasn't had a losing season at all. And fortunately, the Pittsburgh Steelers are in first place in their division. Who would have seen that coming 2-3 weeks ago? Who would have seen that coming? I certainly most didn't. I had them projected as either the second or third best team in their division, and most people had them projected at the bottom of the basement when it comes to the AFC North. But as of right now, they have a 2-game lead on a game and a half lead on the Cleveland Browns and a 2-game lead on the Cincinnati Bengals and Baltimore Ravens. Now, can they keep this up? It remains to be seen, but I have them winning Sunday versus the Chargers. The next game I want to talk about is the Denver Broncos and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I got Tampa winning this game outright because Baker Mayfield, he has rejuvenated his career. He has found a home, and plus throughout in the offseason, he got a big time contract, and it's time for him to deliver on his contract now. Now, I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they will have another efficient game, just like they've been having versus the Commanders and the Lions last week. This game will be no different because we all know that this year is a rebuilding year for the Denver Broncos. Bo Nix, he's had his ups and downs the first couple of weeks. Sean Payton, he's had his ups and downs. And do I think that the Denver Broncos will win a few games this year? I believe so. But when it comes to this game, Tampa just has the better offense right now. And plus, as far as the Denver Broncos, they are underdogs in most of their games this season, if not all of them. So I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning this game on Sunday by 10 points. The next game I want to talk about is the Carolina Panthers and the Las Vegas Raiders. I got Las Vegas winning this game outright. You have Max Crosby, and then you have Devontae Adams on offense, and then I got to give credit where credit is due. Gardner Minshew last week went into Baltimore and got an upset win. Now, those are the type of wins that can kickstart a winning streak for teams like the Las Vegas Raiders, and I think that they will start a winning streak this week by playing the Carolina Panthers. We all know that the Carolina Panthers are a complete dumpster fire right now, and also we know that the Carolina Panthers it seems like they've basically thrown in the towel on Bryce Young. Now, last year, when they drafted Bryce Young, he didn't have an offensive line, he didn't have wide receivers, tight end, or a good running back. And coming into this year, Bryce Young, he didn't have that. But for the Carolina Panthers and the head coach, Dave Canales, to yank him out of the starting lineup, it really states how bad the organization of the Carolina Panthers are. I'm looking at the GM of the Carolina Panthers. I'm looking at the owner of the Panthers, David Tepper. What have you been doing over the last year and a half for Bryce Young? You are supposed to give him elite wide receivers, an elite offensive line, elite tight ends, and elite running back. Well, multiple elite running backs, and you have failed to do that. So, as far as Bryce Young, if I'm Bryce Young, keep your head up, man. We know that this is not the type of quarterback you are, because we know from what we saw from Alabama, you are the type of quarterback that can will teams to victory. But since Carolina hasn't given you the type of resources that you need at the quarterback position, that is why Carolina has been at the bottom of the barrel ever since Cam Newton left. I'm going to show you the rendition and the rundown of quarterbacks that the Carolina Panthers have had since Cam Newton has left in 2017. Now, in 2016, they had Cam Newton. Then Cam Newton, they shipped him off. They shipped him out of the league. Then you had Sam Darnold. Then you had another quarterback who only stayed there for 2 weeks, and then he was out. And then you had Baker Mayfield, which basically Baker Mayfield was basically a shell of himself in Carolina. Also, after that, that's where Bryce Young comes in, and then 16 games. Well, not 16 games, but you have 18 games of tape on him, and you don't see an improvement. This is on the Carolina Panthers organization. Now, I just want to say, if Andy Dalton is the answer, then what's the question for the Carolina Panthers this season? Because you're not making it to the playoffs. Do anybody see the Carolina Panthers winning, I'm going to say, more than 4, maybe 5 games this year? Because I certainly don't. I had them as one of my teams in my show back in August, last month, of teams with plenty to prove in the 2024 season. The Carolina Panthers haven't proved nothing, and they will not prove anything this season, because it seems like they have a revolving door at quarterback. Now, back to the game. I have the Las Vegas Raiders winning this game by at least a touchdown. Carolina Panthers, you have got to get your organization together and put everything in the right places and have some type of order when it comes to bringing in players. This is from everybody, from David Tepper to the general manager on down to the coaching staff. I don't like what I'm seeing out there in Charlotte, North Carolina. I really don't. So get it together. The next game I want to talk about is the Miami Dolphins versus the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Miami Dolphins, they are between a rock and a hard place right now because you have Tua Tagovailoa. He has been placed on concussion protocol and he is placed on injured reserve with the possibility of returning later on in the season. So as the quarterback position now for the Miami Dolphins, they have Skylar Thompson. Do we know what Skylar Thompson has done in the last couple of years? No, because he has been a career backup. As far as Seattle, I'm going to say that we all know that it's a tough time going up to Seattle and getting a win in Seattle. You have a tough time from any NFL team, no matter what level of sports you are playing. It's tough to go on the road and get a win in enemy territory, in an opponent's territory. Now, when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks, you have Geno Smith, Jackson Smith-Njigba, Kenneth Walker, and you have a dominant tight end. Geno Smith has also rejuvenated his career. Just 4 years ago, everybody thought that Geno Smith was a bust, but he's obviously not a bust. He is obviously has found the right team, coaching staff that believes in him. He has the right system, and plus he took the team 2 years ago, the Seattle Seahawks, to the playoffs. Also, last season was on the verge of making it to the playoffs, but lost a couple of games at the end of the season that made them lose out on a potential playoff spot. And this season, hey, he's had a good 2-3 game stretch coming into this season. So I have the Seattle Seahawks winning this game by at least a touchdown or more, because I just don't see the Miami Dolphins being able to sustain drives playing against the Seattle Seahawks. And the season for the Miami Dolphins is up in the air right now, because you don't know when Tua Tagovailoa comes back. He is not going to be 100%. He's really not. So the Seattle Seahawks are going to win this game. The next game I want to talk about is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are back in the house. Now, last week, the Dallas Cowboys, I don't know what type of team that Dallas showed. You heard Mike Zimmer. He came out earlier this week saying that it was a not organizational failure, but it was a failure on his part to get his guys ready, to get the team ready, to get his defensive players ready, and plus it was so many times during the game versus the Saints where the Dallas Cowboys, they failed to stop them. They failed to stop the New Orleans Saints. The first 6 drives of the game were nothing but touchdowns. And only thing I can say is that if you had 2, maybe 3 stops in there, the Cowboys would have won the game. But over the last 3-4 years, the Cowboys, they've had off games just like that one. Now, this game right here, the Baltimore Ravens are favored by 1 point. And we all know that the Baltimore Ravens, when it comes to their fourth quarter struggles, do I think that the Dallas Cowboys will win this game? I believe so. And I believe that the Baltimore Ravens will be in unfamiliar, uncharted territory after this game. For the first time, this will be the first time in the Lamar Jackson-led Ravens era that the Baltimore Ravens start off a season 3-0. Now, I believe that the Dallas Cowboys defense has a chip on their shoulder to try and show America what happened against the Saints is not a coronation of what is going to happen throughout the season. I believe that the Dallas Cowboys defense will be able to stand up against the run offense of the Baltimore Ravens because Jim Harbaugh just said that we didn't bring Derrick Henry to the Ravens to have him run the ball 30, 35 times. Well, what did you bring him there for? You brought him there to get short yardage to get first downs in short yardage situation. Your 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s. And even if you do have to go for it on 4th down, on 4th and 3, that's where Derrick Henry, that's what you brought him in for. But the first 2 games, you have failed to improve your short yardage offense statistical percentage. Now, when it comes to this game, I have my Dallas Cowboys winning this game. I just think that it's time for them to be able to stop a run game and truly just stop it and stop it in its tracks. So I think that the Dallas Cowboys will win this game, but it's going to be a close game. This is going to be one of the close games that we will see throughout week 3. I believe that this is going to come down to the last play or the last possession in this game. But I think that my Dallas Cowboys will win this game because they have to put a good taste back in their mouth because it was just after the game last week versus the Saints, it had a sour taste in their mouth. The defense couldn't stop nothing. The defense only had 2 stops the entire game against the New Orleans Saints, an interception and a 3-and-out. Dallas, you have to show me and all the other Dallas Cowboy fans that last week was just a bump in the road and not something that is going to happen on a consistent basis throughout the rest of the regular season. So I have the Dallas Cowboys winning this game. The next game I want to talk about is the San Francisco 49ers and the Los Angeles Rams. I got the San Francisco 49ers winning this game outright because the wide receiver core for the Rams, Cooper Kupp, he's basically out for 2-3 weeks. And Matthew Stafford, he has had trouble willing his teams to victory without Cooper Kupp in the lineup. And we all know that San Francisco last week, they got upset by the Minnesota Vikings when nobody saw that coming. So I believe that this is a team in San Francisco, not to mention that Deebo Samuel just said that it's now or never for the San Francisco 49ers getting to the Super Bowl because I'm going to tell you, over the last 6 years, it's been NFC Championship appearance, Super Bowl appearance, and then I'm going to tell you, Super Bowl loss, NFC Championship game appearance loss, NFC Championship game appearance loss, then Super Bowl championship appearance loss, Then last year, Super Bowl appearance in the form of a loss. So that has been their last 5 years. This will be their 6th year with the team. And as of right now, they are 1-1. At the end of this season, a lot of players, it's going to be 5 to 6, maybe the most is 8 players are going to have to leave because you are not going to be able to pay every player top tier money. And that's just not going to happen. That is not how the NFL is designed and will be set up. But as far as this game, I got the San Francisco 49ers winning this game, and plus San Francisco 49ers, I have them winning this game, not just this game, but I have them having the division lead after this game because Seattle is up and down. Also, Arizona Cardinals, everybody in the NFC West has at least one win, if not more. So I have the San Francisco 49ers winning this game by at least 7 points, if not more. The next game I want to talk about is the Detroit Lions and the Arizona Cardinals. I was just talking about the Cardinals earlier. Last week, they had an offensive coordination. Marvin Harrison Jr., he had a good game. 4 catches, 130 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Obviously, there's a different opponent coming to town, the Detroit Lions, and they have one of the most stingiest defenses when it comes to allowing 100 passing yards to a wide receiver. I got Detroit winning this game because Detroit had a small bump in the road last week, losing to Tampa, and with Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison, we all know that is a combination that is lethal after the first 2 weeks of the season. But I think that the Arizona Cardinals will have a tough time generating offensive yards and keeping pace with the Detroit Lions throughout the quality and throughout the duration of this game. Because if Detroit loses this game, this will be a good quality win for the Arizona Cardinals, and this will be a chance for Arizona to build up their confidence and giving them confidence and basically telling the team and the whole front office that we are able to play against the top-notch teams in the NFL. But do I see that happening? No, I see the Detroit Lions going into Glendale, Arizona, and winning this game outright. I do. So that's who I see winning this game. The next game I want to talk about is Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Atlanta Falcons. Kansas City is going to win this game outright. Rashee Rice was nowhere to be found last week. Well, he did not have a good game up to his standards. Travis Kelce, he only had 1 catch. I expect him to have a breakout game. Also, Xavier Worthy, I expect him to have more pass plays, more passes thrown his way this week than last, because the Atlanta Falcons defense is, after a couple of weeks, is mainly in that lower tier of the NFL when it comes to passing yardage allowed, and when it comes to rushing yards allowed. Atlanta is also at the bottom of the totem pole in the NFL. Now, Kansas City, they just called in one of their former running backs, Kareem Hunt. Does anybody remember Kareem Hunt? He was with the Cleveland Browns before he came to the Kansas City Chiefs back in 2000, back in 2018. So it's been a few years since he has been on an NFL roster. So it's just running back by committee right now for the Kansas City Chiefs. But I think that in this game, they will not have too much trouble out of the Atlanta Falcons. I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this game. Now, this week we have a deluxe. We have a deluxe package. Well, excuse me, not a deluxe package, but a duo package for Monday Night Football. We got 2 games on Monday Night Football, and I am going to talk about both of these games. We have the Jacksonville Jaguars and Buffalo Bills, and the Washington Commanders and Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I am going to tell you, both of these teams, well, all 4 of these teams are in a place right now in the season where if they lose this game, they could be on the verge of starting a losing streak. And if you win this game, you could be on the verge of starting a winning streak. So when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, the offense has been stagnant the first 2 weeks. 17 points the first week versus Miami. Last week, 13 points in a loss to the Cleveland Browns. First couple of weeks for the Buffalo Bills, a tough win versus the Arizona Cardinals, and last week, a blowout win versus the Miami Dolphins. So in this game, who do I see winning? It's always tough to go into somebody else's stadium and win, but it is extremely tough to go into Buffalo and win in Buffalo. So I got Buffalo winning this game by at least 7 points, if not more, because the Jacksonville Jaguars, they are at a crossroads in their schedule already this season. With this schedule, the Jaguars have Buffalo on Monday night. Then they have Houston. Then they play 2 games in London. So before the Jacksonville Jaguars get back to Jacksonville, they might have a losing record. They might be 1-4, 1-5 with their season hanging by a thread. But I wouldn't be surprised if the Jaguars get a couple of turnovers on defense and upset the Buffalo Bills, because last season on Monday night we had the Denver Broncos go into Buffalo and win in Buffalo, and it was the upset of the week because nobody projected Buffalo to lose versus the Denver Broncos. Now, would that be great for the Jacksonville Jaguars to go into a hostile environment and win? You betcha. That would build confidence going into the game versus Houston, because they have to go right to Houston after they face Buffalo. But I got Buffalo winning this game. And for the last game of Week 3, Washington versus Cincinnati, I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning. Joe Burrow, it's time for him to have one of his signature breakout games. Over the last 5 of the last 6 years, they've had early season struggles. After about Week 3 or Week 4, that's when the Cincinnati Bengals started getting their footing. And I believe that starting this week, they will get their footing. You have Jamar Chase, who last week, now I'm not going to bring too much into this because during the course of a game, everybody gets frustrated. Hell, when I was playing football in high school and in middle school, before I had my surgery, I was a little bit frustrated, and I was a quarterback. If we didn't have a good offensive drive, I would be frustrated. So I know what Jamar Chase is feeling. I have experienced what he is going through. So you have Jamar Chase who wants the ball, and also you have the Cincinnati Bengals who is just waiting to have a breakout game. This will be the breakout game. Jaden Daniels, he is gonna have a tough time trying to sustain drives versus this Cincinnati Bengals defense. So I got the Bengals winning this game by 10 points. By 10 points. Currently, the Cincinnati Bengals, according to ESPN Bet, are a 7.5 point favorite. I have the Cincinnati Bengals winning this game by 10 points. And with that, those are my predictions for week 3 of the NFL season in 2024. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. And also follow Key City Sports on TikTok. And one last thing, remember, the key is always on time.